Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Monday, April 4th, 2016.
Commissioner Davis, Rodriguez, James, Repenning are present. President James, we have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Chris Smith, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Hugh Lee with the Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Shram Kargani, Los Angeles Sanitation.
Good morning, Mahmoud Karimzadeh, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we received speaker cards under general public comment, and we also received speaker cards under items 1, 2, 3, and 4 for today's agenda.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Campos. Before we begin, I would like to announce with profound sadness the passing over the weekend quite suddenly of David Shankwin, who works here at the Board of Public Works for many years, a well-known representative of Public Works, someone that the city family has known for a very long time. We will do an appropriate adjourning motion at the right time in the future. This just happened on Saturday morning, but I did want people to know today, and when information is available about any further services, we'll pass that on. But before we begin our meeting today, in honor of all of David's years of service with the Board of Public Works, we will honor him with a moment of silence. Going forward this morning with our agenda, our first item of business is the approval of the meeting minutes from the meeting of Wednesday, March 16, 2016. Is there a second to my motion that we approve those meeting minutes by Commissioner Rodriguez? Any objection? Without objection, we will approve those meeting minutes. Mr. Campos, it's my understanding that agenda item number 1 has been withdrawn by the Office of Community Beautification?
That is correct.
Okay, moving to agenda item number 2. A motion recommending that the board executive officer or assistant executive officer be delegated authority to receive, open, and declare bids to be received at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, April 6, 2016, and formally report on the results of the bid opening at the Board of Public Works meeting on Friday, April 8, 2016. Mr. Spindler, you have a card on number 2. Yeah, I know. It's old dates.
So nobody wants to do anything, delegate work. So here at Friday, we were at public comment.
They returned an indictment out of the grand jury. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Yeah, it's happening. Now, let's not get any more of that kind of problems. Stop the Penny Myers fucking parade party in CD2, Pop. Krikorian. We don't need to be spending $5,000 on that bullshit, do we? Finally, Noah Mitchell Englander for supervisor. He voted to raise your taxes and force you to goddamn repair your own sidewalks and insure them on public property. The Antelope Valley don't want that shit. Not when I'm riding my horse. I talk to them, they don't want it. No, I'm Mitchell Englander. Yeah, but the grand jury downtown L.A. Bitches, April Fool!
Ah, yes, April Fools.
Candido.
There's your April Fools. So you don't want to go around and delegate this. You guys get paid how much money a year? One of you guys, 2 meetings now, an empty fucking chair. What is this empty chair? You get paid for what? 3 meetings a week, $130,000 a year? This is important, but you're going to delegate this to somebody you don't want to know. This is called washing your hands. So when the indictment comes down, which there really is a grand jury, you can say, I didn't know. I delegated that authority. They did it. I didn't know about those contracts. I don't have any personal information. I have nothing to testify about. I don't have to take the Fifth Amendment.
minutes.
I just don't know what happened.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Mr. Campos, going forward on Wednesday morning, regarding the motion, in case we have a quorum issue, go ahead with just an explanation of the delegation of authority in case it's needed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. The motion before you just delegates the authority to myself or my assistant in the event that there is no quorum to open up bids scheduled for Wednesday, April 6 at 10 a.m. Those bids will be open and opened in this conference room, in this hearing room, and those bids would be announced at the next scheduled meeting, which would be Friday, April 8th, in the event there is no quorum.
Just this one-time event for Wednesday.
That is correct.
I'll second the motion. Any objection? Without objection, number 2 will be adopted. Any problem sending it forthwith? We'll send number 2 forthwith. Thank you, Mr. Campos. On number 3, the Office of Accounting, a motion from the Bureau of Sanitation requesting board approval and execution number 3 for expenditure in the amount of $355,000 to pay for professional diving and undersea installation of netting services received in the Hyperion Treatment Plant 1 mile outfall from September 15th, 2015 to June 30th, 2016. Mr. Spindler, you have a card on number 3.
There it is, voyage to the bottom of the sea. So what are we going to do here? Undersea installation of netting. What are we going to be catching? Shit! Drug needles. That's what we're going to be doing. Because I went to that meeting. We had a meeting about this, a big, long meeting. You were there, and you testified about this Hyperion water plant and why you need netting a mile off of the coast because something's not working. See, I got arrested illegally, I can't work. Then Friday, I was late to my 1 o'clock meeting at my other job. Somebody named Frank Travieso, judge, wanted to know why I wasn't there at 1 o'clock. Give him the FYI, because I'm here working. This is my job. I'm here working. I can't fucking work anything else, so I have to be here working. Talking about divers, putting nets to catch stuff that's not being properly treated at the Hyperion water plant in violation of the EPA, in violation of Cal OSHA. But you get away with this shit. You get away with it. Nobody else would get away with this, but you get away with it. Pumping all that raw sewage out into that ocean. And then it comes back, the waves push it back, and then it winds up on the beach so the kids can play with the needles and the drugs and everything else in the water. You don't need netting. What you need to do is fix the fucking plant so you don't have to net up anything. But your answer is going to be catch the crap in the net so it doesn't go to the bottom of the sea. What's next? You need another Lemaire? How about a scuba tank? How about a goddamn ship that goes to the bottom of the sea?
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Mr. DeFetta. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning, President James, Board Commissioners, Bureau Executives, Mr. City Attorney, and Mr. Campos. My name is Tim DeFetta. I'm the plant manager for the Hyperion Treatment Plant. I'm here today requesting authorization for an authority for expenditure for the amount of $355,000. And this has to do with the events that occurred in September of 2015, where basically we had materials of sewage origin show up on the beach, and we did some extensive investigation, and we were able to tie that this one-time event was related to a 2005 spill that occurred, and where raw sewage ended up within the in-plant storm drains. And so when we had an emergency bypass on the 15th, as well as a planned diversion for 6 weeks starting on September 21st, This material that had been sitting in that pipe for over 10 years ended up getting flushed out. So we did an extensive investigation. We turned in a report to the regional board on January 4th, and we're expecting the regional board to come back to us with whatever further actions may be necessary. This expenditure before you today details the work that's already been done in the amount of $270,000 to install netting to take care of the issues while the event was occurring. We are also asking for an additional almost $85,000 as contingency in case, once we get this report back from the regional board, they require us to do any kind of additional monitoring or change out of the net. If that does not occur, that $85,000 will not be spent. The services we used a company called Ballard Diving. Ballard Diving is a company that basically is under contract with the city to do external inspections of our outfall. So that's a requirement of our NPDES permit, where every year we go out there, we inspect the conditions of the outfall, and we report back to the regional board and the EPA. So Ballard does the inspection, take all the pictures. This specific outfall goes out 1 mile and at a depth of 50 feet below ocean. The difficulty here was when we looked around, trying to get a company that was familiar with the outfall, as well as companies that could meet city requirements. There were very few companies that do this kind of specialized work in the first place. So we ended up using Ballard. This work is extremely difficult in the sense that we had 250 million gallons of effluent, treated effluent, chlorinated, met all the standards, going out every day while they were trying to install this net. And this work requires basically 2 divers out there in case for safety issue and somebody up in a boat. So it takes a lot to mobilize, fabricate the special netting that is required, install it, and then monitor it. In the course of from September to December, Ballard was out there for about close to 32 times. They went out there 32 times to do work on the net and do all the inspections. So the AE before you is to pay for some of the services and any future work that might happen within this fiscal year as a result of actions that the regional board or the EPA may require for us.
Hey, Mr. Defendant, thank you for the explanation, very helpful. Going forward into the next fiscal year, when we encumber money for these services, I know I'm asking you kind of going forward, is the money that we encumber less because we're coming out of that event from September of last year? In other words, I guess another way of asking this is, do we normally encumber less money than what we had to do in 15-16 because of what happened in September?
This was basically a one-time unanticipated event. So we do not expect going forward that we'll be coming to encumber.
We won't going forward.
Unless
something bad happens and we have another event that.
Yeah, either that or if for any reason the regional board, once they go through our report, we don't anticipate there are going to be any issues. But if they come back with any kind of set of requirements that are different from what is there today, then that may necessitate us coming back. But we anticipate this is one time, will be done and don't have to do this again. So
that was a better way for me to ask the question, is this a one-time event? But I didn't go that direction. Commissioner Repenning.
Hi, Tim. Just to frame it for everyone, the work on the 5-mile outfall is completed, correct?
Correct. That ended on November 2nd. So we are done with that 6 weeks rehabilitation of the 5-mile, and we've been discharging out the 5-mile since November 2nd.
So there shouldn't be a need to use the 1-mile outfall anytime soon?
Exactly, because it's basically the backup outfall for emergency situations or when repairs are occurring. So the reason the outfall was used on September 15th was because the 5-mile project, the contractor was working on the pumps for the 5-mile project, and 2 of those pumps failed, and we ended up with water flood in the basement, and that's why we had to go out on an emergency basis. But that outfall, you can go over probably the past 20 years, other than exercising the gates every so often to make sure that the gates do operate. You can count the number of times in 20 years that we ever used that outfall.
But even if we do end up needing to use the 1 mile outfall in an emergency or evaluation situation, the work that's been done should prevent any occurrence such as we had last fall.
Correct. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Thank you, Mr. DeFetta. Is that a motion, Commissioner Penning? I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 3. Any problem sending it forthwith? We'll send number 3 forthwith. Thank you, everyone. Agenda item number 4. A1 Quality Blinds has transmitted a stop notice in the amount of $37,517.29 in connection with the Machado Department of Water and Power LaCretz. This is a little confusing to me, Mr. Campos. Is this one in connection with Machado or the LaCretz Innovation Campus? It's USS Cal Builders.
It is only connected to the Department of Water and Power LaCretz Innovation Campus.
Yes.
It is
Okay,
not
so
connected
Machado's
to Machado.
yeah, got it. For USS Cal Builders. Mr. Spindler, you have a speaker card on number 4.
They're actually frothing at the mouth a little bit. They know I'm here with the food, and you want them pretty hungry, actually. We feed these guys twice a day, and the big tendency with pigs at this stage is to overfeed them. They go over fat.
Here, piggy developers.
Fatty carcass that you don't really know what to do with all the fat.
Get the city money.
It's a pretty good thing, I think, to bring pigs on to maybe 9, 10 months of age. You still have really succulent pork. But if all you're doing
There's another 37,517. Got to keep feeding the piggies.
I'm going to go ahead and feed these guys because they're going to squeal the house.
You got to keep feeding them or they're not going to be campaign donors.
We just feed these guys onto concrete. We put down several piles. With 4 pigs, I'd normally put out 5 scoops of food so that they're not...
All right, don't eat too much, USS Cal Builders over there on the left.
We just better get out there and put in the other piles.
Yeah, that's what they do. They keep feeding. A1 quality blinds. Fucking blinds for $37,517 for fucking blinds that you could buy for 1/10 of this? This board's turning into a comedy store. You know, they don't even put your meetings up anymore on the 35-channel website. They're embarrassed. They don't even put your meetings up on the front page anymore. They don't even post your meetings. They're embarrassed. $37,000 for A1 quality blinds. You can order this stuff online for 1/10 of what you're paying.
What I will do with these lads later on.
These people are fucking pigs. They can't take enough money. They're pigs.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Is there a second to my motion that we adopt agenda item number 4 forthwith? By Commissioner Rodriguez. Any objection? Without objection, we will do so. Mr. Campos, have we cleared? We have general public comment. Mr. Spindler, you have a card on general public comment.
Now they're sending me mail. Mike Fuhrer wants to know how I feel about the mediation program for the city of Los Angeles. Councilman Bob Blumenfield is proud to serve me as my representative. Why do they give a shit now? November the 10th, November 11th, when I'm in custody over there 13 and a half fucking hours, and they called the mayor to ask the mayor what to do with me. Should they issue me a citation and a promise to appear, or hold me and make me post a bond for $5,000? You know what they said on the phone? Fuck him. Hold him in custody so he doesn't go to the other meeting. And that's exactly what they did. A political prisoner. I saw it. Now they care. They fucking care because now they know what's going to happen. Friday, I'm supposed to be at a federal meeting, and I can't go because I'm over at Van Nuys working. Now I'm here working. I'm watching you hand out money that doesn't belong to you. I'm busy working. They want to know what I feel. I wrote down what I feel. What happened to my neighbor who had to put up 2 walls, tore down one fucking because it didn't have the 2008 code changes from a grandfathered wall. The second one, a new wall and a new carport. This woman will never talk to me again. That's their mediation program. Mediation by terrorism. Terrorism. I'm a victim of terrorism. Mike Fuhr, Herb Wesson Jr., Kevin James, fucking Paul Krikorian, who got a goddamn restraining order against Zuma Dog for 3 years. He was afraid to come in here and talk for 3 years. You know who did that? Carmen Trutanich did that before he was done serving his term.
2 minutes.
Fuck him.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Mr. Campos, have we cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
Thank you, sir. Sharam, it's good to see you here today, sir. Nice to be back. We are adjourned. Thank you.